Welcome back, guys, to SSL Premier. We're going to a Game 5 between Solar and Stats, the two Splice players going head-to-head on Frost to decide who makes it to the next round of playoffs here.
Can't believe it all comes down to Frost, too. A map that was heavily prioritized by Solar in the map draft. It was his top pick, in fact, ranked 1. It's game number 5 because Stats did not put it in his map draft at all. That's why it ends up being down at the bottom. And it's all going to come down to this crazy 4-player map. Anything could happen. I'm pretty hyped, to be honest with you, Valdez. I mean, this looked like it might have been a stomp after watching games 1 and 2, but Stats has brought the momentum back on Whirlwind, then taking that defensive engage, getting those Tempest out on Newkirk. It's all down to one last game.
His defensive play on those two big maps were what won him the game, essentially. He was able to defend enough until he got to that late game composition that Solar didn't tech fast enough to deal with. So can he do it again on Frost is the real answer here, the real question, I should say, for Stats. Or will Solar take the series in game number 5? Here we go. Down in the bottom left, the purple Zerg, it is Solar.
You can see the nerves on his face. His opponent and teammate to the bottom right, it is Stats. Here we go, this is it. All down to one final map. Going into today's series, to be honest, I expected that we were going to go deep. I didn't know if we were going to go game 5 deep, but I knew it was not going to be a stompy series. I was worried after Solar took those first 2 games, but now the momentum is in Stats' favor. However, this is Solar's highest prioritized map pick. This is the map he wanted to play most, bring it into first, and this is most likely for some sort of unique, different strategy because it's very rarely picked in SSL.
He's wished it once, which means it had been in his top 3 picks for the best of 3s in all of SSL Premier. Stats hasn't picked it once, so we've only seen one of these players put it in their top 3 once, and that was Solar. So as you were saying, definitely not played very often, and I would have to expect something new coming out here, or just perhaps he thinks that this is better against some of those weird Protoss aggressions that they are doing now with the new patch, and maybe he just feels comfortable on this map nowadays.
Yeah, I would say that's really the kind of core theory we have to take going into this last game. Either way, you have to expect there's a little bit of an edge for Solar on this map because it's a map Stats is just not comfortable with, not even familiar with, as this is an SSL exclusive map. It's not played in other leagues, and it's played very rarely. I mean, this map is from the old times. This map is an age-old Pro League map. One of my hated maps, quote-unquote, because it was a 4-player map, a huge one. And scouting was always way more important back then in terms of early scouting. And I feel like it's a much better map, to be honest, in Legacy of the Void. But a lot of players dislike it because it's 4-player and because it's just not been in the ladder pool for so long. It's not a map that you think about practicing in Legacy. And that was voted in by the pro gamers. It's just been very rarely played. So Solar has a plan here. We'll have to wait and see what that is. Don't forget, Stats, of course, always had to train with Solar on this map for other matches. It was rare, but he's definitely seen what Solar likes to do on this map. And it may just be that it suits his playstyle. It suits how he wants to play a standard ZVP too. I'm not saying we have to see something unusual, something crazy out of the Zerg player here.
Yeah, and everything pretty standard up until now. We aren't seeing a fast Twilight Council out of Stats this time. He is going into Stargate. I have to say his Oracle games have been doing quite well for him. Either they get a bunch of drone damage, they force a bunch of spores, they force Solar to be very defensive and get Stats in early third base. But I definitely have to say that I like the fact that he is going for Stargate and he's not trying to mix it up or do anything crazy here in game number 5, as he has been finding a lot of success with this build.
And I'm a big fan of his Stargate placement. He actually places it at his wall, so Solar doesn't see it. He's looking into the main base with his Overlord right now. And his Zerglings ran by, but he just didn't expect, there's no way he's going to put it in the obvious spot right behind his wall, so he didn't actually go and confirm that. Just using the second Overlord to check for proxies as well as the Ling. Oh,
Caster Curse comes back into effect, but actually the Link does scout the Stargate at the exact time as you guys are looking at this really fancy Korean fan sign. But yes, Solar did get the scouts, and he will add the spores.
Said she hasn't come to watch. She's always been a big Stats fan, but hasn't come to watch to see him in person in 8 years. She's here for him tonight. It's been 8 years, and maybe Stats is going to advance here. So much on the line in this tense final game. Stats obviously a big Brood War favorite in the Kespa era for StarCraft 1, even in StarCraft 2. Made a bigger name for himself in the Western scene as being one of the ace players for KT Rolster, but never found his spot into the individual leagues until IEM Youngie. Failed in that finals, then came back to win the GSL finals. He wants to have another appearance, another SSL finals. He failed there too against Dark last year in this very matchup. Well, this is a different time, a different era. You know, back then it was Dark figuring out that Banelings were the answer in this matchup when no one else was playing that way. Him and Rogue. Rogue, an old name, man. Miss him in the SSL.
Yeah, he's still around. He'll be playing in GSL soon, but definitely haven't seen him in quite a while here at SSL over at the Nexon Arena, but you can see what these Oracles are doing. They always do this. They come in, they get a bunch of kills, 3 kills, they move out, they regen their shields, come back in. He always follows up with another Phoenix, but this is very interesting. It looks like he wants to go for another very strong attack, even with that third base. It's not going to be an all-in. Kind of reminds me of, I think it was game number 2?
Yeah.
Where he just made a bunch of gateways with the Adepts and Resonating Glaives, and he tried to hit a timing, but then he shaded on top of a bunch of roaches. So perhaps if he has better control this time around, he might have a better shot at doing some damage with this attack.
It's unscouted so far. The Phoenix is going to delay, or rather, sorry, deny the Overlord scouts. It's very almost Corsair-esque what we're seeing from these Phoenixes. So look, total vision denial here. And on a map like this, I feel like Solar, for the first time, is going to try to use an attack to figure out what Stats is doing. He's going to come across with Ravagers now. Queen's walking across the map. This was the strat. This was the plan he had for this map, especially knowing Stats has been playing the style very similarly every single game. Stats will at least have a lot of extra gateways and the Glaives upgrade to help defend this. Oh, he needs to move that Mothership Core, though!
Oh, he actually used the Biles on the pylon, so he's going to take both of them out really fast, trying to get this around on the sentries on the top of this ramp. He needs more warp-ins. Solar is hitting this timing really crisply, very, very fast.
Well. And, you know, we didn't want to go for the Mothership Core. We wanted the guaranteed snipes on those pylons. Now it doesn't matter, the Mothership Core's there. Can't overcharge, and we're just seeing more and more Ravagers.
He needs the Immortal. It's blocked by the Adept. Finally it comes out.
Okay, he's out of force fields now, and it looks like Solar is content to just back away, already removing that third Nexus. He starts a lair at home, so this is a lot of damage. There's no counterattack potential here, really, for Stats, even though he has all those Adepts. The question is, does he have a Prism? No, he doesn't have a Prism, so he can't even go for a counter warp-in in the main base with those Glaives. And holding on to the third Nexus is still actually going to be a challenge. Solar isn't just going to walk home and let him retake this base. He's going to continue to put the pressure on. Looks like he's only going to send the Queens home, in fact. Okay, perhaps he'll remake that now. I say he was going to walk home, but he decides to eventually, seeing the Immortal count is quite high.
Yeah, it's getting up there, and the Immortal was the key, and it looks like he canceled the Warp Prism that he was making, or it somehow died in the fire of the fight somewhere, and we didn't see it, but he needed that Immortal to come out, and once it did, it was a little bit too late. This is kind of funny. But it was a little bit too late. It didn't save his base, and oh boy, not going to be able to deny that drone. But he did eventually get that Immortal.
Yeah, and I think he did cancel it. I mean, you know, if I had a time machine, I could go back and check, but I think that's probably the most reasonable explanation as to why the Prism wasn't there. He's making another one now. So huge that Solar actually got that base up. He really wanted that drone to make it. He went for the double Spore cancel. It's almost like in the past you'd see drones constantly cancel the extractor to maximize its health, to maximize the time the drone can live there. And it's funny to see that against an Oracle. Gets the hatch up, despite the Oracle being there. Stats was just looking away. That's really important that he didn't deny that. So now he's going to have this fourth base economy to back this up. Look at the army sizes, right? In terms of cost efficiency, yet again with Psystorm coming out, the charge, the heavy Immortal count, the efficient army is on the side of Stats, but for the time being, Solar's going to try to use his overwhelming large size army in terms of cost and, you know, just pure units, the brute force army, to buy enough time to hold on to this 4th base. He's nearly maxed.
He's got so much stuff. That army is so gigantic at this point that even if Stats has Storm, he doesn't have that many High Templar. He's got 4.
Oh, this Prism.
Really, really close to going down 18 health. But here comes the attack.
No
Those
Storm, not yet. It's almost there. Once again, he's just a little bit too late on this. 4 seconds to go. High Templar up here in the front. He's by time.
It's finished. Where are the Storms? They come down, but Roaches and Ravagers are very, very strong here. They got a lot of health. Really nice Biles landing on the back line of that Protoss army. And it looks like Solar might be able to do it here in game number 5.
It looks like it. The Storms just weren't good enough. This army's too tanky, Valdez. That's the last of the Protoss units going down. No more Storms. No more Immortals. Only an Oracle and a Prism. GG. Solar will advance to face Biel on Thursday in our 2nd round of the playoffs. So well played. You know, had this last-ditch map choice, you know, in the Frost, you know, what we were going to see. He spawned in the close spawns horizontally to make this push happen, to hit that 3rd base. The Frost has such a wide area for the attack, so the attacking Roaches and Ravagers get an arc, they get a concave. It's attacker's advantage in this type of situation. And he knew that Stats was playing almost the same type of game every single time. And in this last game, even though he was going to go for the follow-up attack with all those gateways, he didn't have the units in time. Those gateways meant that his Storm Tech was delayed, his Immortals were delayed. As you said, he was getting the Prism, he wasn't getting the Immortal out first. Just had too few units to hold on to his Nexus, then had an economy that was very weak to eventually get enough units to hold off that big attack. And we talked about the quality of army versus the quantity, but when the Storms are against tanky Roaches, and we're talking about doubling these army size.
Oh yeah.
It's just an overwhelming Zerg army that
Solar,
ends the game.
He read him like a book in that game number 5. You really got to hand it to him. That perfect timing on 50 drones to just get over there with enough army units, cancel that 3rd, or rather kill the 3rd. And he is going to be the victor, and he will be the one that we interview right now with Suya. So Solar's the one that moves into playoff round 2 to face off against Biel.
끝을 알 수 없는 경기가 펼쳐졌던 것 같습니다. 마지막에 물론 이제 승리를 예감하고 활짝 웃는 모습을 보면서 참
very exciting series right down to the very end. How do you feel about the victory?
힘든 경기가 됐고요. 역시 대여병은 대여병이구나를 확실히 느꼈어요 이번에. 원래 제가 준비했을 때는
As I expected, it was a very tough series. Stats has improved himself quite a lot.
제일 잘하는 토스 같았어요 대여병.
그러면 연습 때 김대엽 선수와 연습했을 때 그 정도 승률이었어요.
I feel like Stats is the best Protoss that I've played against in a while.
다른 프로토스 선수랑 했을 때 그 정도였고요.
네. 그러면 일반적인 프로토스와 김대엽
Says,
선수와
I didn't
어떤 점이 좀 다르다?
practice with Stats. For clarification, he practiced with a lot of other Protoss players for this match, obviously.
되게 단단하게 하는 거죠 게임을. 되게 그래서 좀 뚫기 힘들었었어요 단단함을.
Stats is a very solid player, very meticulous player. He doesn't let any tiny thing go during the match. Always covers his bases.
Very meticulous. Nothing but praise for his teammate. So, how did it feel when you knew that you were going to face Stats and your teammate?
되게 힘들었어요. 같은 팀이 없어서 그래서 되게 준비하는 기간이 되게 좀 힘들었었는데 그래도 많은 프로토스 선수들이 연습을 많이 도와줘가지고 이길 수 있었던 것 같아요.
Because I'm so close with Stats, it was actually hard for me, and he's my main practice partner for this matchup, so it was hard to find other Protosses to actually get ready with.
김명식 선수 그리고 장현우 선수가 많이 도와줬어요.
그렇군요. 자, 그 선수들과 함께 또 김대엽 선수가
So,
같은 팀이잖아요.
he actually got help from Myungshik, I believe he said,
Losira.
and Losira. Perhaps getting some tips from Losira in the matchup.
좋습니다. 이제 조금 더 이제 플레이오프 2차전이니까 인터뷰를 조금 더 진행이 되겠죠. 알겠습니다. 다른 선수들
He wants to, because he had to knock Stats out here, he wants to make sure that he goes and wins the finals so that Stats didn't lose in vain. Very honorable thing to say for his teammate.
운이 좋아서 업적을 많이 따게 되는데 업적 점수도 1등 하도록 하겠습니다.
아, 그렇군요. 오늘은 좀 3대0
Well,
예상이 빈다서
Solar, you've been able to build up a lot of achievement points over the course of SSL Premier. Were you conscious of the fact that you had a lot, and were you purposely trying to build up a bunch? He said, not really, and you actually
네, 봤어요.
어떠세요?
got another achievement here at the end, 10 more points.
아이디 배치도 그렇고
With the So Close achievements, winning a 3-2 and a best of 5.
MD 많이 사줬으면 좋겠어요.
네, 많이 사주시길 바라겠습니다.
Solar says,
이제 경기적인 내용을 조금
to all the
물어볼게요.
fans, visit the stadium and buy the player packs. You get that cool pin,
Or else,
plus the
or else
name.
Wolf's going to buy all of them. I'm pretty sure he said that too.
Yeah, or else Kespa Police is going to come to your house and punish you for not having enough passion.
이게 대여병이 딱 티가
So
났던
Solar
게
said he practiced a lot of defense against Protoss recently.
근데 하던 대로 했으면 그런 말 안 하거든요. 근데 전 거기서 딱
But it turned out that Solar was very aggressive in the series.
그래서 1, 2세트 약간 올인을 의식하고 게임을 했었어요. 게임할 때.
아, 그러면 좀 예상을 하고서 의식을 하셨던 거구나. 근데 강민 선수가
Solar
느끼셨는지
said,
모르겠지만
I got a really strong sense in the interview. Stats was going to play as he always did, so I wanted to take advantage of that.
게임하다 보니까.
아, 그러셨구나. 아니, 아까 전에 눈에 보이는 좀 치명적인 실수가 많았어요. 예를 들어 고위기사 4-5기를
Says,
놓고
kind of all went by in a haze. He was playing out of his mind, not really thinking about it, really just flowing.
저도 워낙 바쁜 상황이어서.
네, 그렇구나. 그렇다면 컨디션이 이 형이 좋다 안 좋다를 경기 내에서 느끼지 못했다라는 말씀으로 알아들으면 되겠죠. 2세트에서 굉장히 김대엽 선수에게 잔인하게.
And again, he says Stats was a very strong opponent overall, really heavily complimenting his teammates after the win.
김대엽 선수 병력이 워낙 고급 병력에다가 조합도 좋아가지고 이길 수 있을 걸 생각 못했는데 근데 갑자기 생각이 딱 드는 거예요.
He wasn't sure until the very end if he was going to win the match.
그래서 옵저만 보고 있었어요. 저는 계속.
Because Stats' army was so expensive and so just efficient.
좀 운 좋게 이길 수 있었던 것 같아요. 원래 옵저버가 있으면 제가 졌던 경기인데 운 좋게 이길 수 있었던 것 같아요.
마지막에는 사실
Even in the
진짜
third or fourth set,
관리를 멘탈 관리하기가 좀 어렵겠다는 생각이 들더라고요.
when he won, I think that was the second
Belcher
set,
Vestige,
where he won with his lurkers because Stats lost all of his observers. That was also really close. He wasn't sure if he would win that one either.
운영에서 제가 2판 연속 져가지고
Always a very close series between these two players.
이렇게 전략적인 수를 뒀는데 잘 먹힌 것 같아요.
아, 좋군요. 자, 다음 상대에
My whole body was shaking when Stats managed to tie it up 2-2.
네.
어떠세요?
지원 형이랑 개인적으로 되게 친해서
So Solar's going to be facing Biel in the next round of the playoffs. How do you feel about your chances against Biel?
제가 이번 정규 시즌에서 한번 져가지고 이번에 좀 복수할 타이밍인 것 같아요, 지원 형은.
Biel's another player that I'm very close with, and we both know each other's play styles very well. We practice a lot together, so it's going to be another close match like this one.
알겠습니다. 자, SSL 2회 연속으로
It's another ZVZ, and he always feels like a ZVZ is always a 50-50, no matter what. So he wants to win off of strong practice regardless. He's got to practice his luck for those series, according to him.
나의 리그라고 말했던 SSL에서 좋은 결과가 있기를 바라겠고요.
He needs to think about this immediate playoff round against Biel before he thinks about the finals with Innovation.
그렇죠. 어떻게 준비를 해야 될까요?
일단 상대부터 구해야 될 것 같아요. 당장 집에 가서 오늘.
네.
상대는 그래도 지원 형이랑도 워낙 연습 많이 해서.
Well, his first priority right now is to find as many practice partners as possible to prepare for these matches.
The Plat League guy in the crowd was like, "Oh my God, this is my chance! Pick me!"
I got a really good cheese. So, anything you'd like to say for the fans?
걱정 마세요.
와, 좋습니다.
It's me, Solar. Don't you worry. I'll win for you, I suppose is what he's trying to say. And that's going to be it. So nice to hear from Solar after his victory. Always a pretty fun guy to talk to.
Yeah, I hope one day we get to interview him as he speaks pretty perfect English. All right, guys, so the series was a close one. And not only was it a 3-2 close series, but it was also each and every game was back and forth, especially the Newkirk Precinct game, the Belcher Vestige game. You know, the Whirlwind game, the Frost game, they were a little bit stompy. The first game, a little bit wonky there, but according to our format, of course, this means that Sulky from Brood War, from SSL Classic, and Solar from Premier will advance. So in round 2, we will have Free versus Sulky, the ZVP, and then for Premier, it's going to be the ZVZ, PL versus Solar. The winners of those matches on Thursday will advance to the Grand Finals on Saturday at 6 p.m. on June 10th. The finals are going to be right here in the Nexon Arena, so do not miss it and buy tickets early if you want to get a seat.
Yeah, definitely make sure to check out those matches, guys. And just to clarify once again, this Thursday is the matches of playoff round 2, and then the next Saturday. So,
yeah, not the Saturday right afterwards, the following Saturday.
Yeah. And then, of course, on this Saturday, we do have SSL Challenge. It will be the final day to decide everybody's places, to decide who makes it straight out of Challenge into Premier for Season 2, who has to go into the Fast Lane rounds 1 and round 2 as well. So some pretty cool matches there. Hero versus TY definitely will decide a lot for, you know, who's getting first place for sure. Also, Classic is up there. Beyond also up at the top too.
Well, if you're a Splice fan, you want that TY win for sure. It's been a great night of playoffs here for both Classic and Premier.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Definitely has, man. And I love that we have Brood War and StarCraft 2 here at the same time. And we'll see you guys on Thursday, same time, same place for round 2 of the playoffs. Don't forget to watch GSL on Wednesday and Saturday. ASL is tomorrow. But for myself and Valdez, we'll see you on Thursday.